From my experience, I would say every artist I ever met is suffering inside. And he or she just found a way to deal with the suffering through being creative. It's one form of dealing with this inner pain.
Welcome to Born to Create, the podcast where we delve deep into the minds and hearts of artists from all walks of life. I'm your host, Maria, and each week we explore the powerful relationship between creativity and the human experience. Here, artists share their most meaningful life lessons, profound transformations, and the challenges they face along the way. Together, we'll uncover how creativity has shaped their mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Join us on this journey of discovery and inspiration and find out how creativity can impact your life too. Okay, so today I'm really honored to welcome a true innovator in electronic music, Robert Babicz. He began his music career in the early 90s, initially gaining recognition under the alias Rob Acid. With over 1,000 releases, 7 albums, and collaborations with labels like Bedrock, Systematic, Audiomatic, Robert has spent more than 3 decades reshaping the sound of the global music scene. He's celebrated for his live performances, where he utilizes synthesizers and live equipment to improvise each set, distinguishing himself from traditional DJs. And I'm also so interested to have this conversation because for me, Robert, watching you on social media and hearing your posts and of course your music, I feel like you're really in touch with creativity. And based on this podcast, Being Born to Create, I think this conversation will be extremely interesting. So thank you so much.
Let's hope. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. So, I would love to start with just this question about, I read that you described your performances as ego-free. I feel like you're very connected to authenticity and that creativity part. What does ego-free or authenticity, what does that mean to you?
It means I trust my intuition. Something, when it comes to creativity, I learned that if you are able to simply trust your intuition and stop thinking, things start to flow. Right. So that means when I'm here in the studio, and as soon as I go, as I'm in this so-called flow state, I'm not thinking anymore. Time stops. Even I'm not here. It's sometimes I say the universe is playing me itself. Things just happen, and especially with my students, I try to, because since COVID I'm teaching production and everything about music. I'm trying to teach them to trust themselves, and then when you work on, let's say, when you make music, the musical piece will talk to you and will explain what it needs. You just need to learn to listen.
Wow.
And that means this listening experience is not, of course, you hear it, but you have to hear it inside. And that's why I'm so fast when I do music, because I do music like 1 track per day. Right? Because the track is telling me exactly what it needs. You just talk with the track. And let's say I compose something, I add an element, and then simply just feel it. Does it make things better? What is here? Where I have to change something? And then simply believe this process, and it flows.
Wow. Yeah. No, yeah. I love that. And the whole 1 track a day, I find that fascinating as well, because people often get very, me too, almost attached to this needs to change, that needs to change. It's not finished.
It's never, that's the thing. The track is always just a snapshot. Anyway, and I see that's why I don't care so much. There's no perfection. perfection is an illusion anyway. And a track is simply a snapshot of today, for at least just for me, right? I can only speak for myself. So that's the reason why I also, when I start a track, I finish it. I really try to finish it at this day, because the initial idea when you start a track comes as well from your heart. It's like there's this initial, oh yeah, I love it, this is so good. Yeah. And then if you are able to finish the track while you are still in this feeling, in your emotional power, and then the track is real. If you work on a track like for a few days or weeks or even months, you're completely out of this initial feeling. And like on the first day, you are very connected to the track. The next days, you are simply just connected with your brain, and you are it's more about logical thoughts and see, okay, this artist have done this and this, and for me, it's I want this snapshot.
Yeah, I love that. Actually,
if it's not perfect, I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, but at the same time, it is perfect because it is exactly the snapshot how I felt this day.
Yeah.
And I released over 1,000 tracks, but I have made
not many more.
A bit more, maybe.
Oh, that's a really helpful thought, the snapshot and also the connection that you just described, because I actually noticed that too. Like when you create something and you connect to it, and the next day or a few months later, you're disconnected. You have so much experience with it, but how was it at the beginning? How did this start? Did you just create everything always in one day, or did you make this a habit later?
Actually, yes. When I started I started when techno started in Germany, and this music was so new and so revolutionary in a way, because it was not songs, right? The 80s were like songs. And this techno thing was grooves and hypnotic sounds, looping, minimal changes, something very different. And I'm coming from a very unmusical family. I had no musical education at all. And I'm the only artist anyway in our family.
Oh,
and basically, I did my first record on borrowed equipment. I had no idea what I was doing. I only had fun.
That's good.
And that's the most important thing, right? I got the possibility to play around with some toys, instruments. For me, it's toys. I'm sitting here. I'm over 50 and I'm still sitting like a boy in a room here.
Yeah.
Toys. And the story of my first record was simply I recorded tracks on a cassette, the old school cassette.
Yes.
I was still going to school, I think. And this whole techno movement started. I saw an advertising in a music magazine, a new techno label searching for a newcomer. And imagine even just, my life could go a complete different way if I would not. The tracks that I made were recorded on this tape, right? I put exactly this tape to the post and sent this away. The only copy of the music that I ever done.
Wow. Yeah.
Imagine if the guy would say, "Oh shit," he would throw it away.
And that's it. Yeah.
All my music would be lost.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a brave move. Yeah.
Then a few days later, I got a call from this label owner, and he said, "Oh, are you Robert? The music is fantastic. We love this. We want to release this. Can you send us the master tapes?" I told him the only copy I had. Yeah, and basically they pressed my first release out of this cassette.
Wow. What a story. That's amazing. It's like literally acting inspired and also brave to send your only copy, because you're taking the risk for losing perhaps everything you've done so far. And then.
Yeah, but at the same time, I had literally no idea what I was.
Really no idea.
Yeah, the thing is, okay, I'm born in Poland, and we moved to Germany. My parents moved to Germany, and we were immigrants. And I'm coming from a very poor background. And all my childhood, my feeling was like, oh, I'm on the wrong planet. Something is wrong. I had no idea. Like when I was comparing myself, my inner self, to other people, I was feeling like, is there a different planet or something?
Right.
I'm wrong here. And then when I don't know what happened. When this music hit, when this techno thing came up, it really hit me like super strong. Something, all my childhood, I was listening to music and I was really like loving sounds and rhythms and everything. But when this music came up, somehow something was like, you need to do this. And imagine my parents, they thought, oh, our son, he has now the possibility to go to university or be an engineer or something. And I was like completely hooked to this music thing. They were not amused.
Wow, okay.
But for me, it was after the first record, even then, I think like 1-2 months later, I got a call from a promoter in my city. I'm from Köln. I got a call from a promoter. He somehow found my number, and at that time I already connected to other artists and had a bit of network. I got a call, and the promoter asked me, Robert, would you be able to play tonight in our party? We had an act that should come, but it's not possible, and we are looking for a replacement. So I said straight, like without thinking, I said, yes, of course, I'm coming. But one little problem. I have no instruments. I have no own instruments, nothing. And he said, okay, we can ask around. And yeah, then basically I came there. They organized some equipment, but I never, stuff that I never saw before.
Oh, wow.
It was like completely different stuff that I was doing my record on. And I had like exactly 3 hours to prepare everything and play.
Wow.
So still no musical education. I had no idea what I was doing. I was extremely at that time I was extremely shy and was really afraid of people, like really afraid of people. But for me, it was like all or nothing. I will do it. I do it. And then somehow I was able to play a full 1 hour improvised set.
Yeah.
And after the set, when the people were applauding, and it was like, this was almost like, I don't know, like a bomb that happened inside me. And I knew this is what you want to do in your lives.
Right. Yeah.
And from that moment on, I told myself, all or nothing. This will be your life.
Wow.
And imagine the early 90s, nobody could imagine that electronic music will grow and be this giant industry, right? It was like freaks on pushing buttons. And yeah, it was not easy because, of course, for my parents, it was horrible. Really horrible.
In what way?
Yeah, because they told me, if you do this, you will not be our son anymore. And they told me even, okay, Robert, you have 3 months to find a job or go to university. And before that point, before that first live gig, I was always saying yes to my parents because I was afraid of them. Yeah, because I also had, my father was beating me like crazy and all my childhood, all this stuff. But it was the moment where I said, no, I will do this. I will do this music thing. And then then my father said, okay, then you have to go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's tough.
But at the same time, I got first money came in. I had more shows. Things somehow came together.
Worked out. Yeah.
The universe took care of this.
Yeah.
After 3 months, I had some income from music because I was playing every gig that was offered to me, like everything, and I didn't care. Like everywhere, somebody asked me, yes, I was going there. So I was able to find like a little room. I had simply a mattress on the floor, a couch from the trash, and that's it. But I was happy.
Yeah.
Because I was by my own, I was following my heart.
Yeah.
Of course, the first years were were not easy to survive. But I said to myself, if it's super hard, if you now go and get a real job, you will not have the power that you need for your music.
Yeah.
So I accepted, okay, you will be now very poor, but you do everything to do this, to survive through music.
Sounds like, you're physically poor, but enriched by being connected to your true self and doing something you really believe in and enjoy. So much so that you were taking the courageous steps to move out of the house and have that disharmony, like with your parents for that time being.
Yeah, and really, I thought to myself, this will work out or I die. Yes, there was only this possibilities. Because I don't want to die, this will work out.
It has to work out now.
Yeah. And the other option was simply not possible. So it worked, yeah. And now it's 35 years. Like next month, it's 35 years doing this.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. So there was no plan B and you definitely made it happen.
No plan B.
No.
Plan B would be homeless on the street.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, I had no support from the family. And of course, and as well, my friends at that time, I was anyway the only one, like from my old friends group, I was the only one loving this kind of music. Everybody told me, Robert, you're crazy. This will never work out. And then the music friends that I had, but they were playing like guitar or playing in bands, they said, Robert, this is not music what you do. You're crazy. This is stupid.
Yeah. But you were pioneering, so you were innovating.
Nobody could stop me. Like, no. I said, okay, then I do it. I do it anyway.
So then, sorry, continue.
Yeah. And then I think last year I had a show in Cologne, and I called a taxi to go to the airport, and the taxi driver told me, "Are you Robert?" I was like, "Yes." And then he said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "No." Help me, please. And he was one of these old friends. He is a taxi driver. Back then he was like in a band, having thinking like he will be a big musician, but it of course never worked out.
Wow.
And and he said, "Wow, you did it! Wow,
Amazing.
you found your way."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, somehow every day when I wake up, really thankful I can have this life. Imagine I can do what I want.
Yeah.
I wake up when I want. I simply go into my toy room here and play around, do what I love.
Yeah.
And this gives me the possibility to survive. I'm completely, I don't care about being a star or being rich. This is not my topic at all.
No.
I don't. The only thing is, of course, I'm simply thankful I can do this. And this is paying my bill somehow. But it works. You're right. Again, like almost every day, I feel that I'm super thankful for the universe giving me this opportunity.
It feels like your life is very much the expression of your heart and your soul. And almost like when you mentioned in the beginning how you felt, why am I in this world? Am I on the wrong planet? And then you didn't come here to fit into the world as it was. You were here to create your world and create something new.
And it feels like that. But only through this creation, I feel really alive. It's this flow state, this state of not thinking, just doing. Like the music, as soon as I start something, it flows. And I have a few rules for myself. One rule is, if I decide, okay, today I want to do music, and I start something, I will always finish it. That means I don't have any unfinished songs at all.
Yeah, I think that must be so good.
Everything that I start, I will finish. In the end, if it's finished, like really finished, then I still then I can decide, okay, maybe it's boring or something. Then the next thing, if I decide this is not really interesting, I delete the whole folder.
Yeah. That clears up so much space, right? And creativity to flow again, which I think is genius, really, to create.
So I simply start next day with an empty system and start from zero again and again. And this is keeping me completely in flow. I don't have to think about, because I can see this on many people. They have hundreds of ideas, started ideas on their hard disk on their computer. And then when I speak to them, okay, cool, you have so many ideas. And when do you work on them? Yeah, it's hard. And then delete the folder.
Yeah.
You will have space.
I think this is great. And I will actually want to take up some of what you're saying, because I feel that projects that I just have lingering there that are unfinished, they actually hold me back for almost have a pull on me and I get stuck on them or I feel attached to them, and it doesn't help new projects. Yeah. Wow. And so is that something that you would recommend for somebody who's like new to always?
Absolutely. Honestly, music is not something super complicated. Okay, I say it like this, but really, we are not Beethoven or something. Like, we're not writing symphonies. At least I speak for electronic music. You can do 10 tracks a day if you want to.
Yeah, what about the mixing and the mastering, for example? People that are like, oh, how can this be? Is it finished if I do it in one day? And then
for that, of course, it's probably good to get some help. Why not? Only, again, I am crazy. I don't let anyone touch my mixdowns or my mastering, nothing. Because I do everything myself, like from the sound design to the end state, because I have this clear vision. I have a clear vision of how it should sound, how, like everything. And because 30 years of experience, 30 years of doing mistakes,
of course,
the thing is, don't be afraid to do mistakes. You don't break anything. Do whatever you want, and see what happens. And then you learn from this. And that's one of the reasons why I say finish every idea, because even if it's not good enough, by finishing it and going through the process, you learn something.
Yeah.
It's valuable experience that you're collecting all the time. And slowly you will get better, or maybe faster. To be honest, like the first years, I had no clue what I was doing.
How did that look like? Try to explain a little bit. You didn't know how, so you were just trying things around.
I had really, I was. You had like music that was inspiring you, and okay, roll back in the beginning of the 90s when techno came out, and you were going to the club every weekend. Basically, you heard new sounds, new sequences that you never heard before, week after week. It was really amazing in that regard. Just imagine, this is today almost impossible, right? Because everything seems to be written, everything is a pattern, repeating. Back then, musical styles were simply just evolving. You heard stuff that you never heard before, together, and you were like, wow, how did he do this? Wow. And then you had to experiment. There was no YouTube and then all this helping stuff that we have today.
Yeah.
So you had to do it again and again and try to find out what happened here. And do all, like I did 1 million mistakes.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there's probably a benefit from perhaps not having had YouTube or something like that and just having to try everything yourself to almost do all those mistakes, but also keep that curiosity. And I don't know, because sometimes it could be that I can speak for myself. Sometimes when I watch YouTube, it's great, but then it takes away from me learning and finding those own ways myself and perhaps creating a deeper relationship.
You have to experience stuff yourself. So when I'm teaching with my students, I show them sometimes, I show them stuff, but I tell them you have to do it yourself. You have to experiment. You have to find your way of doing. There's no right or wrong way.
Really,
That's so nice about creativity, and especially music. Even if it's parting in a rhythm, it can be great if it's done on purpose.
Yeah, with intention.
For me, everything is allowed. For me, there are only two genres of music that is touching me, and that is really that I can feel, and music that is not touching me. Everything else is open. So I try not to be like focused only on this. Everything, any kind of music that is touching me is great.
What do you feel might be the difference of music that touches you and that doesn't touch you?
Yeah, a lot of music probably in these days, even more, is really a repeating pattern, and with the intention of being famous or earning money or getting gigs. It feels like, for me, when I hear a lot of music, it feels the music is not done because of the music itself. They do it in a certain way, with certain sounds, with a certain structure, because all others are doing this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're feeling that.
The secret to get famous. And for me, this has nothing to do with music. This is not music.
Yeah.
So it's not touching me because it feels hollow.
Yeah, so you're feeling that intention, almost like the consciousness with what the music or the piece has been created with. You're like feeling that. Yeah, which actually brings actually is a great point to also notice, or like what consciousness we create with, what's the intention from the start, right? To make it touch more. Not because of the purpose to touch more people, but to be more in touch with yourself and do it for the reason of
especially, let's say, when I play live, what makes me happy is seeing people on the dance floor just dancing and probably even closing their eyes. Just being in the moment, just let the music wave through you. And then you don't think about yesterday or tomorrow or whatever, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. No, you're just feeling the moment. This is when I see this in the faces of the people, makes me happy.
Yeah.
And then if you follow this a little bit up, there's this, okay, for me, it's interesting always. Every gig I play, the first 15, 20 minutes, I try to find out how can I grab them? Because I'm playing live and improvised, I can go in different directions and try to grab them. And then comes the moment, and at one point, sometimes it takes a bit longer, sometimes, but there comes this moment where the dance floor is trusting you. There's always this before, what's the DJing? What is this guy? And then there comes this, this is nice, I like this. Then later comes this, they stop to think, and they simply trust you. They open up to you. In this moment of opening up is actually, for me, even visible in form of an entity that starts to be, that is born. It's like an energy field. You can feel that over the dance floor. That is a full energy field that is connecting all the people through the music.
Yeah.
Then basically it's my work is here to feed this energy field. And then when I finish my gig, to release it to the universe.
Wow. Yeah, I have a visual now through your explanation, and it feels like you're creating, like you're an energy. Yeah, like you create the energy, you view it, you can feel it, observe it, and use it to touch people's hearts in that way, and then to send it onto. That's beautiful. I love that.
And that's simply, I understood this is why I'm here. I can see, and people come to me after the shows, like they tell me, they got hope again. They feel so alive. It was so emotional. I love it.
Yeah, I can feel that from how you're expressing it, and can really feel it. And one thing that I thought about when you were sharing was two topics that I've read and heard about you speaking about was the synesthesia. Yeah, is that you seeing colors, the music and colors, and the transcendence that's created on the dance floor, which you like about music being a tool for transcendence. Is that
right?
Both for yourself and the audience? I'd love to hear about those two things. So I guess let's start with synesthesia. So you see music and colors.
Yeah, it's like in my. It's how can you describe something like this? I thought everyone has this ability. A little bit later, I understood I'm the crazy guy here. Simply, I can see music as a geometric form, like a sculpture in time. And in this sculpture, you have emotions woven in. So I can basically, this is
very abstract. I'm sure.
Words for this. Simply, when that's in this flow state, time stops. That means I can travel forward and backward in time and work on the sculpture. So a track is simply one entity, like a living form for me. And that's why I can speak with the track when I'm creating this track, because it's a living energy like put into this form. And yeah, it has color, like it's not three-dimensional, it has more dimensions, like a form. And because I can see it, I can see mistakes or errors.
Wow.
Right? So I don't have to think about, is this better or this better? No, it looks more beautiful this way.
Yes.
So I can simply rush through it.
Yeah.
And so everything is connected to everything. all this is, maybe I'm simply just a hippie.
No, yeah, it's unique what you're describing, but also it feels like you're just really hyper connected to the other realm, and the channel, like you mentioned at the beginning, almost like you are, I don't know how you said it exactly, but like a channel to something through you.
People can sometimes say it's like channeling. Yeah, for me, it's this flow state where I simply, I'm not here, but I'm here. Things simply happen. And it's this full trust of intuition.
Yeah.
And this is super difficult to teach people to really trust this, because there are different layers.
Yeah.
Your mind sometimes do tricks on you.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, it can be so tricky. Absolutely. Yeah. Like hypothetically, so let's say that one of the listeners right now has an idea of intuition and has somewhat, we all have it, but might have a connection already to it, but maybe not so much, or doesn't trust it. What would you say, how to help that person to recognize what the connection to their intuition might be or look like?
It's this, what some people say, you can feel it here. When it's for everything in life, there's this almost silent little thing inside you, and it can get louder if you allow it to get louder. So most of the people, they think that they can think in an objective way, but that's simply just an illusion, I would say. And I see every person, and also every life form anyway, as an energy body. It's an energy form, and we can interact, we can exchange energies, and there's a reason why we exist. I even don't know. I still don't know. But I love to do this and to explore being alive. That's something I really like, and that's why people can also probably feel this love for being the other way. I would say every techno or music in general, or every show, is basically almost like a religious ritual, in the way that we honor life itself. We honor that we are alive, and it's a way to be thankful and dance. This energy of dancing, of releasing energy, and be connected to people. Yeah, for me, this is like a ritual. It's a ritual.
Yeah,
it's basically a ritual, and humans are doing this since they started to be here, probably.
Yeah.
We are just a modern form of this ritual.
It's true. Yeah, it's true, actually. Yeah, we've been doing that since forever as a ritual. It's true. Yeah, it's a way of connecting, and I love that. What are some of your favorite sort of toys? Because you have quite a few, I'm sure. Well, which ones are your favorite go-tos right now, or do you have any like that?
A lot of them.
All of them. I almost could have imagined.
No, you don't need all of this. Really, you don't need this to make music, because these days you can do everything inside the computer. The whole technology advanced so much, but it's nice. I can touch a button, I can touch a knob, and you can feel it. And then what I liked about having hardware in a way is, and that's something to do with creativity, you can misuse hardware. So let's say, like an instrument here, the famous TB-303, it's really misused by me, And you can do anything that if the person who built this instrument would never think about that this can be done.
Okay.
And just as an anecdote here. This is still the very first TB-33, yeah, right, from 30 years ago. And when I done my first acid records, I have done them on a very cheap, because I had no idea and I had no money and then blah, blah, blah. I only had the mixer. The mixer that I had was a cheap DJ mixer.
Mm-hmm.
And the DJ mixer has line inputs for line signals with the normal line level. And the DJ mixer also have phono inputs for connecting your record player. And for connecting a record player, the phono input is very high, like it's pushing the volume up because records are very low in volume. And what I did, and I had no idea, I connected people would say it's a mistake. I connected the 303 to the phono input and the sound was super distorted.
Yeah.
So it was a mistake, but I loved the sound.
Right.
It sounded great, right? If you would say, if you go to somebody and say, yeah, we connect my instrument to the phono input, they would say, no, don't do this as well. Well, yeah, but it sounded great.
Yeah.
So it was a misuse, and it was bringing me to a different way of doing music. And something that people, like the modern form, if you just have your laptop or your computer, the plugins or the software will always do what it is programmed for. There's no space of misusing, like connecting it the wrong way.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I understand.
Right? Because the software is written in that way and will always act that way. And yeah, I like to experiment, to connect things together that should not be connected.
This is great. Now I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah, because like with the software, everything's made so how it should be, and you can't really connect something that it shouldn't, and therefore you can't create something by chance that may have been a mistake and be super cool.
The happy accident.
Happy accidents. Yes. Yeah. No, that's a real good reason to use hardware. Actually. Yeah, it would be fun as well to discover that. What else could be possible?
Yeah, and I feel like a small boy just always exploring.
Yeah,
I'm always on the hunt.
Seems like the key for creativity, right? To be always somewhat curious, playful, and in that joy of
always on the hunt, always searching and hoping something happens, something that was not planned but sounds great, or it behaves like interesting.
Yeah. Did you ever, because it seems like you've always been so connected to creativity and it's easy to let things go for you and just to keep creative, but has this always been like that? Or did you also sometimes perhaps have this, should I let it go? Or
of course. Yeah. Yes. I have thoughts. Sometimes I even have weeks I don't make music because it feels like wrong.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just recently, because it was even like really hitting me hard. Also, my friend Mark Romboy, me and Mark Romboy, we had a gig in Kiev, in Ukraine, 2 or 3 months ago, and the traveling was hardcore.
Well, yeah.
But being there and playing the show was amazing. Yeah, it was somehow was very touching, emotional. But when we came back home, something was odd in a way that we came back, we were safe. And the people who stayed there, who were so nice to us, they are in this situation of they can lose their life every day. And this was almost like tearing me apart. And I could do music for weeks.
Yeah.
Like I started sometimes the computer, and then it was simply feeling wrong. So I watched some YouTube videos, switched everything on, and just do something else.
Yeah.
It was not work. I couldn't. I was unable to go to be in this. I couldn't. But it's no.
Yeah. Is it that feeling of, I don't know, and maybe you might not know, but maybe you do, that perhaps that feeling of, experiencing joy right now feels wrong because they might, or is it like taking on the energy of that blocks creativity?
Yeah, for me it was more this, because I was of course absorbing the energy there, and one of the most intense moments, and this is strange, to get on the way to Kiev, we had to go around Kiev and go from the upper part and drive through Bucha. I don't know if you remember this news about Bucha, this place where in the beginning of the war, the Russians came there and killed all the people, slaughtered them. And we came in the night and you couldn't see anything. But even if I'm just getting goosebumps, just the feeling of pure darkness, even without seeing, because it was dark.
Yeah.
Driving through this place, I could feel so much darkness and pain. And it was interesting because we came there and then there was a control with soldiers and we had to show who we are and stuff. And I couldn't talk. Like and Mark was saying, Robert, what's going on with you? You are, yeah, for me it was very intense, overwhelming. Somehow I took also, the people were super, super nice, like super lovely there that we met. But you can see this in the eyes of people if they are traumatized. Yeah. Right? There's this, again, this energy form of every human, and then there's this crack. There's a crack. And because I was absorbing all this energy. Yeah, and then I came home.
Yeah. First had to settle probably, or come out of your system.
Yeah, and it took weeks to let this go.
Yeah.
And it was simply, I couldn't do music. It was impossible. Yeah, and of course, in general, if you are an artist, I would say it's totally normal that you have at least 2 or 3 times a year a full crisis. The real meltdown, if in terms of all everything I do is shit. Oh, I cannot do anything. Everyone else is better than me. Of course.
Yeah. Tell me more just to understand it better. You have to. And why is that important?
Yeah, because you have to confront yourself and with your fears and with your... Now, for me, it's really normal to have these phases of things are just flowing and I'm creating. And then I have phases where nothing works. And I think, like, I can do nothing. Everything I do is simply super boring. And I'm simply bad, and everyone else is better than me, and I'm simply...
You experience that as well. Wow. Yeah.
And sitting here and thinking, oh, shit, if people see that I can do nothing, they will... Hey, Robert is a loser.
Wow. So you experience that too.
Of course.
I know. It's you're human too. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm completely okay with it. So
it's part of it, no?
Yeah, the way how if people ask me, I'm saying I'm a professional melancholic. I'm pretty good at this.
No, it's great to fully embrace oneself. That's part of it too.
And it's all part of life. But then when it comes to music or production, there I say, like, my level is I'm an advanced beginner.
Mhm.
I see myself as an advanced beginner. I know a little bit, but I know I have to learn, and I want to learn so much more.
I love that, the advanced beginner, because that implies really that creativity or like music production, even for somebody that does it for 35 or more years, like there's still more to learn. For me, it also feels like infinite amounts of things. Yeah.
It's an endless process.
It's endless, huh? Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. And just to go back on what you just shared, I feel two things that I guess like I'm taking from it too is like one, you are highly sensitive to energies and the subtleties of everything in the universe, as we know, and you clearly can feel it very strongly. So when you went to Kiev and through there, that you took on all these energies, which afterwards took some time to also, digest or process, or even, But that kind of the start of the podcast here, Born to Create, for me, like very much was also from the questions or the idea that when we sometimes process things, whether it's mental health or we go through addictions, or that perhaps in those times creativity is also stalled, or that we can't really express it so well. And it might be different for everybody too. But for me, for example, it was when I've noticed in the period of my life when I was not feeling too great, or perhaps not aligned with myself, whatever it was, that I was not being creative. And so I saw that connection between our well-being and creativity. And from what you said, like there seems to be a similarity. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts about it?
From my experience, I would say every artist I ever met is suffering inside. Mm. And he or she just found a way to deal with the suffering through being creative. It's one form of dealing with this inner pain. Mm. Because literally everyone, if you really go into this person, basically anyway, every human is suffering inside and have pain, right? It's part of human being. Oh. But how you deal with that, many people simply start to drink and watch Netflix all day long. Other people simply just going into, I don't know, music or painting or writing, because you can collect all this pain, or you can release your pain, right? Mm-hmm. And I understood this a few years ago when my artist name in the 90s was Rob Acid. And it's really interesting. I didn't understood this for many years. Rob Acid was really brutal, like musical-wise. This was hard, like super hard. For me, the feeling of like playing my sets was like my instruments were like flamethrower, and I was burning down the dance floor, like completely like this angry energy. And quite many years later, when I started to do therapy, I understood. Yeah, of course, because in your childhood, you were beaten from your parents, you had all this pain. And I found a way to transform this inner monster and demon into this musical thing and do something good with this, because my inner demon was making people happy. Yeah. Like I was transforming this inner pain into happiness. Like the people were literally super happy if I was them to like crazy, right? It's like they were happy. And yeah, it took me a long time to understand that. I simply found a way to deal with this. And then, basically music, I would say music is a lifelong therapy anyway. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then I have two children, and my daughter was born in the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment when, I was there, of course, on the birth, when she came out and I saw her, all my angry energy was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Something changed.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like that, I came back home.
It's love.
And I couldn't do this Robert Babicz thing anymore. I was like, no, I'm not angry anymore. I have this little angel here. I want to love this angel. That's the only thing I want to do.
Wow, it's beautiful. Yeah.
But I took this step and changed the whole music that I was doing. So I stopped being Rob Babicz, and I had many other project names. And I really restarted the whole career because I had to change everything. And then I understood I don't want to hide behind a fantasy name. Like everything I do is me anyway. So let's use my real name, Robert Babicz.
Yeah, let's be you.
Be me. It's all me.
Yeah.
Of course, Rob Babicz is still living inside me. Here's some.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's still angry, but not the whole system anymore. It's just one of the colors that is hard in me.
Yeah. Wow, that's a beautiful story that you've just shared as well with when your daughter came, how that shifted.
Yeah, and she was here just last week. She was here.
Yeah.
So we had a great time. I mean, she's soon getting 25.
Yeah. Wow. Time goes quicker.
Yeah.
I will have so many more questions, but I also am aware of this could go on as well forever with my curiosity. But I would like to ask you just two more things. And one, just to mention your podcast that you are doing, and also the work as a mentor or coach, if you want to share some of that. But before we do that, just like for the viewers, if you took one thing of wisdom from all of your life experience as a artist, and just with your life experience, if you had to say one thing as a word of wisdom, what would that be from that to somebody?
Trust your intuition is everything. Because everything else comes out of this if you really trust this feeling, because it's bringing you through everything. Right? Whatever bad happens to you, if things somehow work out. Okay, I have this thing that I'm not religious, but somehow it's like I say thank you to the universe for things. Right? And with my full being, thank you. Because this intuition is bringing me through life. And when things are really going wrong, and sometimes one day I need to write a book because I have so many stories.
Oh yeah, please do.
Especially from traveling as an artist, because in my booking agency, I had, of course, many different agencies, but I was quite often the guy. Okay, let's say, because I had this once. My agent told me, Robert, we have for this date, you can play in London, you can play in Ibiza, or we have a request from Kazakhstan. I told them, why are you asking me? Of course I do the adventure, right?
Yeah.
So I was the one that was sent out to places where nobody been before to check out if everything works fine. Of course, I was all these adventurous places, played everywhere. Things sometimes were really going wrong, and adventure.
Well, it must have taught you a lot as well.
Many crazy memories. I'm not rich in the bank account, but I'm really rich on memories.
Yeah,
all those years.
Oh, that's the true rich, isn't it? So,
yeah.
And that brings me to your podcast. And thank you for sharing that, by the way. And I listened to one of the episodes already, and it's really nice to listen to you and Mark, you doing it together. And just talking about airports, I think that was the one that I listened into, all the different experiences. But yeah, tell me a little bit about that. And for anybody that doesn't.
Yeah, basically the idea was me and Mark. Okay, let's say it this way. I'm a bit autistic. So I do my stuff somewhere alone. I'm not connected to so many people. But I have a few friends that are real friends. And Mark is a real friend, and he understands me. And sometimes he forces me. And that's totally fine. And he said, Robert, we have these phone calls where we talk about anything. Why not recording them, our talks, like friends talking with each other about things. Yeah. Let's do something with this. And and then we thought, okay, we can try to do a podcast. Why not? Well, yeah, and then it makes fun. Yeah. It's quite a lot of work, but it's really fun to do this.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to listen to you both having that conversation. Actually having the background now about how it started. Why don't we just continue those conversations on a podcast that we already naturally do? That's nice.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really what we do is we talk in the podcast like we talk like once a week, like friends. Okay, what's the news? What happened to your life? What do you think about this one? And what do you think about this? And blah 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 and all this thoughts, and simply just share it with the people. And we get a lot of comments from people who say it feels like we sit together.
Yes.
Yeah. And we listen to you, and it feels like we know you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a really lovely environment that you're creating that for people to feel that. And you both do more together, so Marotopia.
Yes. We're also doing this master classes. We started this and we made our first test where, last month we had people here in my studio for a week. And we will do this next year again here in Malta and as well in Mönchengladbach in Mark's studio, where we invite people to, like, in real life, not just online.
Yeah, that's amazing to have things.
And give the people the possibility to work with us, and it's fun. I'm learning a lot of them about this as well. Since COVID, I'm doing this mentoring and teaching.
Yeah.
And since I started this, I think I even learned more than all of my students. Because, and this is interesting for me, till COVID, everything I have ever done was simply done by intuition. I never explained why I'm doing this or this and what's the reason. Yeah. So I had this people who wanted to learn from me how, why, and what I'm doing. And simply I had to understand why I'm doing things.
Right.
Because that's the only way. How I can only tell you what I'm doing and why if I understand this and find the right words.
Yeah.
So all these questions from the people, they were like, I had to really discover and understand why this and this and this is connected to this. So I learned so much in the last years.
Wow. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Wow, what a personal development, journey through teaching others. Totally. Yeah, because then you have to understand yourself. Yeah. Most powerful way. And I guess then when you're teaching it, like it becomes so much more of a, I don't know, true understanding. That's
yes, very. A lot of things that I have done over the years because it was feeling good. Now I understand why it was feeling good.
Yeah. Wow.
I understand the background and why this and this, if this comes together to this, creates this and this. Before I was simply doing this and it was feeling good, so I was doing this.
And just a follow-up question to that, actually, has it created any change for you in your life, understanding this? for you, even though you've done it before, but understanding, did it make a difference?
Yeah, actually, it makes music a little bit more difficult.
Oh, interesting.
Because now there's maybe sometimes too much information. And now, before things happened, just happened. Now I really need to focus on stop thinking.
Okay, yeah.
Let things happen. Your inner sensor is silent now.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to do it on purpose now.
Yeah, intentionally, whereas before it was just flowing. And
Yes.
yeah. Oh, wow.
But it's still possible. But now I have to tell my inner sensor, you go out, go to the balcony.
Yeah, nice. And I think it's so important for everyone to always have to be like, oh, I'm thinking too much now. And that's how you can be more in flow. From what I've heard, it's like those thoughts are what's in the way, really. Yeah.
And on the other side, it's quite interesting. Now I can break rules on purpose. You can only break a rule if you understand the rule, right?
Yeah.
Now it makes fun to break them and see what happens. And I do this together with my students, so they learn learn. What my students always really like is when I'm struggling.
They like it.
They love this. But because everything is so easy for me. And sometimes I'm doing something and then I'm struggling. And for them, it's super interesting how I find my way out.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I guess it would be
there's something.
Yeah.
Because for them, it's mostly the normal state of, okay, I'm struggling. How can I?
Yeah.
So for them, it's, they have fun. They love this when Robert is struggling.
I hear you. Actually, I don't blame them because, it's like an experience that happens to them. They're struggling. And then to see you as actually struggle and then see how does it come out will be teaching probably so much. And then also to be like, human, he's also human. He's also going through something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they love this.
Wow.
And they are. And we, because it's almost like a joke right now that the people are already saying, because I was saying that, the track is writing itself. I'm not doing this. I'm just let it happen. And now the people saying this, like, as soon when I'm in this flow state, the track is writing itself. We just, it's a running joke with the groups. It's funny.
But
funny. They are always happy if I come to this wall and struggle.
I love it. It seems like a lot of fun and lots of learning and like such a nice environment. How can people work with you if they wanted to?
Yeah, I have 3 classes, 1 international class and 2 German classes. And this is happening over Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And we meet once a week for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And also every class has its own dedicated Discord server where they interact with each other and also me helping them on little problems. So the international classes is going through Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
And the German classes are going through Sign. That's the German community.
Okay. Yeah.
But basically, the classes are closed.
Okay.
Also, something interesting. When I started this, I thought, okay, I could do this teaching, and probably people come in and stay 2-3 months, and then comes the next and the next.
They stay.
They stay.
Yeah, they stay.
Most of the people from the very, very first beginning are still in the group. They don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Because it's like the day when the class is happening, it's something you meet friends and you hope is struggling.
And then you keep them close to not grow too big.
Yes. Yeah, because for me it's important that because I want to take care of everyone. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get it too big. And I like also because the groups, they grew to the community. Mm. And then if I'm if I have a gig or I'm away, they still meet, even without me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Proper
I love
community. That's really nice. Fantastic. And one-to-one coaching and mentoring, is that what you do?
Yeah, I'm doing this as well. People can simply just contact me, and this is of course something where, because it also through Zoom, and then they share the screen, and I can look into their project and give my opinion on things or help them on certain problems. Yeah, people like this quite.
I'm sure it would be invaluable to working with you. So all of the details from you that you've given to me will be underneath this podcast for anyone to check out. So, so thank you so much, Robert. This has been an absolute pleasure. I love this whole conversation with you. And as I said, I would have continued, but I need to find a limit somewhere.
We're almost 1.5 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I'll stop recording.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Born to Create. I hope you found today's conversation as inspiring and enlightening as I did. Remember, creativity is not just about making art. It's about embracing transformation, nurturing our mental and emotional health, and connecting with our deeper selves. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps us reach more listeners and continue bringing you these powerful stories. Until next time, stay inspired, keep creating, and remember that you were born to create.